Welcome back to Crypto Atlas, your daily source for crypto whale alerts, crypto market news, and also DeFi gems. And we do have an update on the big Bitcoin whale that's been shorting Bitcoin in just a moment. But we've been seeing a lot of whale activity, a lot of movement going across crypto today. And I want to start off here with a couple of these whale alert transactions, and then we'll talk more about what's going on with the exchanges. So first up, we're looking at 1,142 Bitcoin, which is worth roughly $119 million. And that was just moved from one unknown wallet to another brand new wallet. No exchange tags, no institutional labels, a clean transfer between two private addresses. Now, this kind of move usually screams storage, reshuffle, or reallocation. A whale might be tightening security, consolidating holdings, or simply rotating to new cold wallets. And since the funds didn't go to an exchange, this actually leans more towards the bullish side. Historically, when we see Bitcoin moving into fresh private wallets instead of trading venues, it's a sign of accumulation, not liquidation. It's someone taking coins off the table, removing supply from the market. And the second transaction paints a bit of a different picture. 1,021 Bitcoin worth about $107 million that was moved from Ceffu to Binance. And that's significant because Ceffu is Binance's institutional custody service, the place where big players park funds off exchange for safekeeping. So when Bitcoin flows out of Ceffu and onto Binance, it typically signals potential market activity ahead, possibly selling, possibly rebalancing. We don't know intent, but it's a move worth watching. Sometimes these transfers are internal routing or liquidity management. Still, when large volumes hit exchange wallets, it tends to add short-term sell pressure, or at least the option for sell-side activity if volatility spikes. So one whale's moving coins into deep storage, another's moving them onto liquidity exchange. Mixed signals, but both are pointing to positioning ahead of what's likely a volatile few weeks. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to some other news. So the whale, this is coming in, and you guys can see that they have substantial amount of profits on the table. With leverage of 8.44 times, you're looking at over $120 million, which is absolutely ridiculous. And as is mentioned here on the Twitter post, they're saying that that guy actually knew something. This is the one that a lot of people have been accusing of being an insider with the Trump administration. And I would love it if we could get some more clarity, at least an actual investigation, and not from somebody that the Trump administration had directly appointed, because when you investigate yourselves, oh, look, we didn't find anything, right? But if there's somebody else that comes in and investigates this, I'm curious to find out if it actually is an insider or not, because a lot of people are speculating that it is based on the timing. So the OG whale who shorted Bitcoin for $182 million is now sitting with a $12.2 million profit. People really suspect that they're an inside trader. Then we move on to Ash Crypto, and they say breaking 5 billion, 5.7 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options are set to expire today. High volatility expected. So yes, we've been seeing a lot of volatility. How this will actually play out over the course of the day, we'll have to see. In just a little bit, I'll go over the price action for the day so far. But the day is still young. The Fear and Greed Index has dropped down to 22. So we're now in this orange, almost reddish territory. It's definitely quite substantial of a drop. We're talking from 64 greed, which was a week ago, all the way down to 22 fear for today. So that is extremely dramatic. You're looking at 42 points right there that's shifted just over the course of a week. Then we've got breaking. It's being earlier today. BlackRock is dumping everything. They just sold $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. They still have $89 billion in Bitcoin and $14 billion in Ethereum to sell. Do I think that BlackRock is going to be selling all of their Bitcoin and all of their Ethereum? No, I personally don't think that. I think the odds of something like that are extremely low. Let's just be real. 1 billion is a huge impact though. 89 billion means that they've got plenty more that they could tap into, and at some point people are going to be selling. People are going to be trying to take profits. Markets are extremely high right now. We're hitting historic price levels, especially for Bitcoin. So how much more do they plan on dumping if they do? And I want to know what you guys think. So share your thoughts with us down in the comments below. So you've got BlackRock selling, Binance selling, even Coinbase selling. In just 6 hours, they sold a total of $1.1 billion. What is going on indeed? And this is, you guys got to keep in mind, again, BlackRock themselves dumping, they themselves were 1 billion Bitcoin. $1 billion, I should say, in Bitcoin. Binance dumping millions of Bitcoin right now. What's going on? Binance futures heavily bidding $100,000 to $105,000. People are wondering if CZ knows anything. A lot of people are pointing fingers at CZ right now. And this is actually really big news. The exchange Binance is under investigation for money laundering. This is coming from France. They're conducting a full-scale inspection that's targeting suspicious crypto transactions. And people are wondering if there's a major centralized exchange collapse that's incoming. We also were hearing news that Crypto.com is doing a lawsuit against Binance. So I thought that was very interesting. Big wallets are heavily shorting the market. They're wanting Bitcoin below $100,000. This is coming from Ted over on Twitter. Do you guys agree with that? He goes on to say that Bitcoin has decent bids around the $100,000 to $104,000 level on Binance. I think bulls will try to defend this level for Bitcoin. And a revisit of this level will also fill last week's wick and could act as a strong base for upside continuation. Max Crypto says that the odds of an October rate cut are now at 100%. 100%. So what does that mean? Well, markets are fully pricing in a Federal Reserve move to lower interest rates, and that's where things definitely get more interesting for Bitcoin, because rate cuts mean cheaper liquidity. Borrowing costs drop, credit conditions loosen, and capital usually flows out of cash and bonds into higher risk, higher yield assets. Bitcoin historically benefits in exactly that kind of environment. It thrives when money is easier to borrow and when investors start chasing returns again. It also plays into the weak dollar trade. When the Fed eases policy, the dollar tends to soften. That makes hard-capped assets like Bitcoin more attractive, both as a hedge and as a speculative vehicle. And then you have this here from Crypto Goose over on Twitter. Most of Bitcoin's liquidity is concentrating on the top side. Looking very bullish. So when you hear traders saying Bitcoin's liquidity is concentrating on the top side, they're pointing out that order book depth and open interest are building above current price levels. In other words, there's more liquidity and more momentum waiting for an upside breakout. Market participants are positioning for continuation, not breakdown. And put all this together and the narrative looks clear. Macro liquidity is about to increase. Whales are shifting funds in preparation, and sentiment is leaning bullish. One whale securing long-term holdings, another ready to deploy liquidity on Binance. Both suggest that the smart money is active again. If the Fed does confirm that the rate cut in October, Bitcoin could be the first asset class to react, and those whale moves might make a lot more sense in hindsight. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And here we go. This was mentioned about 2 hours ago while I'm recording the video, almost 2.5 hours. Fed rate cuts confirmed in 12 days. That's when the reversal begins, even if you don't believe in it. What do you guys think? Do you think that when the Fed rate cuts come in, it's going to have a positive impact on crypto and in Bitcoin? Let us know. And also, taking a look at the price action for Bitcoin on the day, it did drop down quite low. We went all the way down here to under $104,000. Looks like it was right around $103,500 over on Bitstamp. Actually, I should have changed this to Binance, but we're looking at Bitstamp here. And we've since then seen it start to make a rally going back up. So I'll go ahead and swap this over. We'll look at it on a 1 hour time span. You guys can see right here that we had 6 hours of continuous drops, but for the last 3 hours, we started to come back up. Volume has also surged. So again, we'll see how things play out throughout the course of the day, but overall, things are starting to look like they're making a bit of a recovery on the day. It did have quite a bit of a drop, and yes, that's still not really a great thing, but the fact that it's recovered about half of this wick from where the day had actually started, at least to me, that looks like a little bit of a bullish sign. Now, what's not good is the purple line, which is the VWAP, and we can actually see that this price action right here is below that of the VWAP. Essentially, it's trying to continuously stay below over these last 4 days. The Bollinger Band has widened since going back to around September 30th, October 1st. That's really when we started to see it widen there. And it's more or less found a zone, right? We're not seeing that getting much wider, but it's definitely much wider in comparison to other spaces that we've seen historically here going back in time. So things are really crazy right now. Volatility is high, hitting that all-time high. It's going to have a huge impact on things too. And that's what I got for you guys in this video. So let us know what you guys think. Share your thoughts with us down in the comments below. And besides that, I have a referral link to a crypto exchange called BTCC. You can find that down in the description below. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters, as well as my YouTube members. God bless, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.